Welcome to the Filmistines, the double feature podcast. Join us as we unravel the interwoven experience of the continuous conversation of cinema. Take part in pairing movies with their cursed counterparts, movies that share DNA, or even pairing questionable duos by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level. With a $5 tier, we grant the ability to request films to further the discussion. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready to join the 100-year conversation. This is the Filmistines, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience.
They're an experience.
All around you. And welcome back to another episode of the Filmistines. Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm joined today by my singing friend, Lucy.
Hello, everyone.
You can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for brand new episodes of the Filmistines. Some recent episodes include Disney's own The Creator, Scott Ridley's Napoleon, Society of the Snow, Anatomy of a Fall, and Todd Haynes' new film, May December. Remember to leave nice comments, thoughts, and ideas over on our Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines. Come request a movie. Please.
Please. Are you stressed and filled with anxiety like I am? Maybe in a bit of pain from that car accident you had a few years ago? Well, the sponsor of today's episode, Hempville CBD, has us covered. They have the highest quality products created by chemists and doctors. Hempville carries everything from CBD to THC dispensary grade without those despicable dispensary prices. Order your Delta 8, 9 edibles and vapes along with the THCA flower and get free shipping when you spend $50 or more at hempvillecbd.com. Check out the link in the description for more details.
But today we are discussing the surprise production, I guess, Blitz Bazawule's reimagining of The Color Purple. Favorite of yours, actually, which I was always I'm to this day very surprised by that because it's an older movie. Not that old, but 1984, right?
85.
85, so it's a little old, and you love that movie, and I'm just like, that's a little bizarre, but good. It's a good movie.
That's a weird pull, isn't it?
For you specifically.
Yeah,
you know?
for me. Yeah, I know. We had it on DVD, so I watched it a few times.
You grew up with it.
I grew up with
it. It's a
it.
childhood movie for you. It's very cool. I had never seen the original until last year, probably, or the year before when you showed me it. I don't think I knew about it before that.
Interesting. No, it's always been a favorite movie of mine. I don't know why. Just something so raw about it. And I'm pleased to say that I liked this film a lot. I don't know why people were mad that this was getting a remake or retelling. I don't really know the reference. I don't really know the difference between both.
It's been argued forever, probably. The remake, the reimagining, the retelling, the adaptation, it's all being argued, especially right now because we're going through that phase in video games. And I have got clear definitions in my mind for the most part, but we're not all on the same page.
Yeah.
So that's
what
a problem.
Matters.
I would call this a reimagining totally because
Okay.
it's taking what we are very, very familiar with, and it still is very familiar, but it's very different. So that's kind of the essence of a reimagining. And a remake would be probably a little bit more like Steven Spielberg's West Side Story last year. That's more of a proper remake.
All right. Yeah, I didn't see either of those. So the original or the remake. So I think I started the remake of West Side Story and it was not good.
Yeah, it's not very good. This is much better. The new Color Purple is actually very surprising for me. Again, I was surprised by The Color Purple being good, and I'm surprised again that this is maybe even better, I think. We lose a little bit of the naturalism, but we exchange it for this, like, otherworldly kind of, like, almost Wonka vibe of this story. It feels like this takes place in the mind of the storyteller around the fire kind of thing. Like, it's got its tethers in reality, but there's something really romantic and just too colorful about it for it to like have, which I mean that makes sense. It's a musical, right? That musicals can't. There's no natural thing about a musical,
Right.
So, but I think it captures that vibe incredibly well, and it definitely challenges me in that it might be a little better than the original for me.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how good the performances were overall. I think there was one obvious weak one for me, but oh my god, there were also some pretty great performances. And I was really shocked because I feel like I find it hard to find great performances besides by my notorious actors that I have a liking towards, like our boy Joaquin.
Yeah, of course.
And in previous episodes, we talked about how people were saying those were great performances, but here we have some great performances.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Charles Melton was that kind of person in May, December, where I've never really seen him or noticed him or in anything, but he at the very least held his own against these two legendary actors, and I dare say he was better in this scenario.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he was praised a lot. People were going to be shocked if he didn't win something.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also am really impressed by a lot of these performances too. Who stood out to you?
So definitely Danielle Brooks, who played Sophia, and Coleman Domingo, who played Mista. They were phenomenal. Oh my god. I don't know if I've ever seen any of these two actors in anything else. I know Mr. was...
Oh, he's in Beale Street. He's
the dad.
He's Tish's dad.
He's Tish's dad, which we loved him there.
Yeah.
So
those are both kind of very loud performances, loud roles. I'm surprised I didn't cross that. That's very cool.
And he's got this charm about him that goes with that loudness, and it's just hard to picture him in this type of role. But he did a phenomenal job.
It really kind of works in the end. I can't remember in the original if Mr. has that
like that redemption. Yeah.
Does
he doesn't? I don't think he does.
Okay, so I mean that's a sign to me that either our director and writer here understood the kind of vibe that he was giving, and because there was this like he's not as brutal as like his dad or other brutal characters that are in this. He was destined to kind of denounce his ways and have some kind of resignation of being a piece of shit.
Yeah, I think in the 1985 film he has a bit of a redemption, but not here. They don't stay friends. He doesn't do everything he does for her. But from what I could tell in the book, he does. So maybe it follows the source material a little bit better, and they went out of their way to cast the perfect person to fit what goes on in the book.
Yeah, that's awesome, because Danny Glover is a little more intimidating.
Yes, he's scary
person. Yeah.
And Danielle Brooks just gave it her all here. She committed 100%, from her being, this strong woman who's not going to let no man touch her or hit her or whatever, to her going to jail and having that kind of darkness come over her and beat her down. Oh my god, that was amazing. That was amazing to watch. To her now, her redemption, her resilience to get back up. And I'm sorry, Oprah, but it doesn't do... I don't get that from the original.
Yeah, Danielle Brooks, in a similar but different way to Coleman Domingo, they have a little bit of a different approach with the characters, which is awesome. I can't welcome that more. But she really runs circles around Oprah's performance in that, for sure.
Yes, totally agree.
She steals the show away here.
Yes.
Completely.
Yes.
And Celie, was awesome. Older Celie was awesome too, and I know this is her first feature film.
Oh, wow. This is her debut?
Yes. And funny enough, she's also the winner of the 2004 American Idol run.
What? That's awesome.
That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. Okay, that's cool. I like that. So she was a pretty early winner if it's 2004.
Yeah, totally. I don't remember when it started, but yeah, she's up there with Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood. Is she one of them?
I don't think so. I don't know. Don't quote me.
I don't know.
I know Kelly Clarkson was the first one for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much after that. But the weakest performance here for me was adult Nettie.
Next to these other performances, adult Nettie falls super, super flat. And so it's actually pretty disappointing when she shows up. Man, her kids, like
Her kids.
Celie's grown kids, had better delivery than older Nettie. I was just like, man, that's kind of rough.
That's kind of rough because the whole entire fucking movie, we're waiting for them to reunite, and it sucks. And I didn't know she was played by Sierra.
Who's Sierra?
Oh, no. Sierra was from the early aughts. She was a R&B kind of pop, rap singer, you know, Ludacris era, Chris Brown era. She was really popular. I don't know how you don't know.
Yeah, I know how. I know Ludacris. I know Chris Brown. I don't know Sierra.
Well, what is she doing here? She doesn't act. It's like if Chris Brown all of a sudden came and was a part of a movie. I know she doesn't have a big scene here because she has a big part. All of this is her. It's her and Celie's story. Even though she's not on the screen, she's still in the audience's mind. So she does play a big role, but as far as screen time, she doesn't have that much. So I you know, maybe she didn't have the screen time she needed to deliver, but that doesn't matter. I feel like any of these other actors, even if they had such a small screen time role, whatever, they could have delivered.
Yeah, no, totally. It's just like the white woman. I think it was like the mayor's
wife.
And I will say in this one, she also falls really flat because in the 1985 one, she is psychotic. I don't know if the scene's longer too. I'm not sure, but she's way more just violent feeling in the 85 one. And here it's just so fast. I'm just like, what was really, how did this escalate like this?
Yeah, maybe they wanted to steer clear from any of that. You know, that's not the point here.
It feels a little more focused on the love and community of these people, for sure, instead of
the hate.
Yeah, totally.
So I like that, but that doesn't mean you don't have to give your role all you have. Be the wicked white woman, you know. Show us why we need to feel even more sad that she winds up in jail. I also didn't like about this movie that the sisterhood bond wasn't there in the beginning like I would have wanted it to be. I'm not sure if it was the lack of chemistry between the two young actors or if it was what the director and crew had them doing in the scenes that didn't give me that sister bond that I wanted. Instead, I feel like we focused on nothing in the beginning, just setting it up.
Yeah, that definitely might be because of the lack of chemistry. I'm not sure about these young actors. Celie was doing it for me a little more, young Celie, because she came across really nicely dim-witted and, you know, kind of ready to, you know, participate and have fun and do, you know, get in the shenanigans and stuff. But Halle Bailey this is my second film I think seeing her in, and I'm not a fan of her. There's something really off about her that I don't like very much, but I can't quite put my finger on it yet. I need to see something with a little more performance out of her, because she's so undercooked in Little Mermaid, and here we really kind of focus on setting up the terrible situation Celie's gonna be in for a while.
Yeah.
I do like the introduction a lot, though, where they immediately kind of display this world in a storybook sort of way. They totally rip out, and I don't know, is it just the musical nature of it? I'm not sure, but they really rip out the naturalism of it all. It's very beautiful. It's very innocent feeling. It doesn't feel like there's any bad on the surface.
And I was a little bit worried in the beginning, especially when we're introduced to Mister, because he's not creepy. In the 1985 film, he's stalking her home, and she's scared out of her mind walking home with this creepy man following her. And in this film, they're talking. They're having a conversation, and she's laughing, and he's saying stuff about her feet, and she's like, haha, you know. I'm like, what? Where is this movie going to take me? I wasn't completely sold in the beginning because that's what The Color Purple is.
And that might be a little bit of that Coleman Domingo's energy coming out, where they couldn't quite place him as that creep. He's a little too charming. He's a little too good looking. You know, he's got a gentleness about him that, you know, we find out that he's maybe trying to live up to his pa. And that's not really his true nature.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of became that, but not really.
Yeah.
Because he fucking hates himself.
Yeah. I totally love where we went.
So it helps justify it, though, in the beginning there. But it doesn't... We never get a chance to justify Halle Bailey's shtick.
That's true. Yeah, I'm there with you. There's something about her that I'm not completely sold on either. The Little Mermaid, I didn't want to blame it on her because that whole thing was just awful. But yeah, there was no chemistry. I wasn't completely sad when they got torn apart like I should have been, like I was in the 85 film.
One thing I really liked about the intro, really inconsequential and just a nothing point, is when they were walking, the two sisters, through like the market area or whatever, and you could and the musical number was still happening like behind them, and they were just, you know, chatting it up, and it's just like just a normal day in their town.
That's musicals, man.
I thought that was so fun. I don't feel like I've ever seen that before.
Oh man, you're missing out.
They were like intersecting the musical number. It's just like, all right, that's cool. I liked that a lot. That was fun.
Yeah, the whole musical here it's such a fun, creative spin on this. Because, I mean, you're right. When you start adding a musical element to a film, you're completely changing the mood. You're completely changing the tone. And it's such a genius move because this movie focuses so much on the love and friendship and the laughter and the fun of it all to get through tough times that I couldn't see it as a non-musical.
And that's my favorite thing to hear and see when we get something like this. And, you know, that's why it's kind of a really surprising production, because it's just like, there aren't a lot of people out there. There's not a lot of examples out there either where people will just completely reimagine it. It's from stem to stern, it is something completely new, but, you know, the same. And I love that comes across in its entirety. And it does for me too. This is a great movie.
And I also love the message behind this movie that's completely different from the first one too. This message of empowerment and women empowering each other, that's so fresh from everything we're getting shoved down our throats today. Because we're focusing on standing up for yourself and making each other laugh and lifting each other up. You know, no anger, no hate towards the men. That's on the side. Like, we don't need that. We're focusing on God. We're focusing on karma. I love it. There's not that many movies that do that. We always have a character that's always going to hate on a man for something. And this is the place where they should be hating on them. They're getting beaten up. They're getting smacked around. You know, they're not taking each other's jobs or something so small. But the dad here is stealing her kids and selling them.
It's pretty crazy.
So I I like the message and just how positive it is.
Absolutely. It's almost like someone behind the camera knows where empowerment starts. It doesn't start by knocking down the institutions. It starts within you.
Whoa. Well said.
It's not me. We're saying that.
I mean, you said well. Anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, we saw a similar angle of topic with Barbie earlier in the year, or 2023. I guess we're in 2024. Happy 2024.
Whoa.
But you see, in that film, Barbie has a few things to say. I have a few things to say about Barbie, but Barbie at the very least does a good job at depicting what it looks like when you try to take down an institution, when there's no part of you in the revolution. You don't know what you want out of the revolution. You know, that's a fundamental part of successfully revolting is having a manifesto. Not that we are having some kind of revolution here, but we are kind of having a revolution of...
Well, Celie's having a revolution.
She is having her own revolution.
Yeah.
And she's helping, along with Sophia, help facilitate that in others too. And so there starts to be this kind of microcosm of revolution in this community.
Maybe you have a better understanding of what Greta Gerwig is trying to say in Barbie, because I don't see what you see in that movie. Maybe I need to rewatch it.
Well, I don't love that movie, don't get me wrong. I
think you have a better understanding of what she's trying to say that a lot of people are not understanding.
Maybe I think she...
Or you're being too nice on her interpretation.
Maybe I'm giving her too much credit.
Maybe you're giving her too much credit.
But also, I mean, this goes for every film. You know, when the piece is done, it's really no longer theirs. It's the observers that, you know, we interpret it and we process it, and it's whatever meaning we find in it is true. So that's one reason I was hungry to see what she was saying about Barbie, but I really couldn't find anything that didn't feel very PR-y. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I like the microcosmness of it because it's much more fucking effective here. Because these are humans. Like, these are characters. I mean, it's also kind of not fair to say that, I guess, because they're Barbies, so it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Go listen to our Barbie episode. It's a fun episode.
For sure. The only instance of the opposite of what I'm saying happened is when Harpo was singing the working song and he was building a house, and then all of the girls came in there and were like, okay, you're doing it wrong, and they all came to help build the house for them. And that was a part where I was like, all right, that might have been too weird.
I completely agree. As far as vibe and messaging in this movie, that felt really offbeat.
Yeah, but that was the only part,
and it was really quick.
But I was like, no, come on. This is like the 40s, or I don't know what time it was. 20s.
Yeah, at the time they were making that house, 20s, 30s.
But I do love that right after that, we have Sophia's song after Celie told Harpo to be her. And we have her whole song of, no man's ever gonna hit me. Why are you being like this? As she's packing up and she leaves his ass. I love it. It was so good. Probably my favorite part of the whole movie. That whole number.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting her to just leave during the musical number. I was like, oh shit, she's out. She's packing the truck. She took the baby. That was funny.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Harpo was in the 85 version, but he almost felt like that second derivative of that oppressive man at the home. You know, you got the granddad who's did his job. He's got, his dad Mista, he's pretty good at it, but you see the cracks. And then you've got Harpo, who's just he's just not like that. He's kind of a romantic, flirty guy. Just wants to get around and not very mean spirited.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had to hear that from Celie to do it. So it's just like, okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I like that you say that, because another one of my favorite scenes was when right after that Thanksgiving dinner that everyone left to go to Memphis, we have old Mr. and Mr. at the dinner table left, and they're just sitting there looking at each other like a mirror of what's going to happen if he keeps being this way.
It's actually masterfully told, because a lot of times resignation bits and characters happen in, the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of that first crack. And so, we get it over a few sequences, and that's excellent storytelling.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes. I agree. And I love the karma that came to him. I love karma. I'm a big believer in karma. And he got his karma. He got cursed. And his crops all burned down. Oh, I love that route they took. And she kind of does that in the 85 film, but just something about it here, it makes it so fun.
It helps ground it in that storybook kind of fantasy. Of course, we all, we to this day maybe have people who believe in superstitious stuff and curses and whatnot and magic, your energies. But I love that the crops are cursed. The field's cursed. We got to burn this shit. I love it. It helps kind of ground it in a reality that's similar but different than ours. That's very cool.
And he has one of the greatest redemptions in a character. And he's invited to Easter dinner, Easter lunch, whatever time of day that was.
Yeah.
And he helps bring them together. He helps bring Celie and Nettie back together.
That was awesome. I really like that. Especially kind of in retrospect where you see he's not his dad. It's just like, damn, like this, you can be good. You are good-natured under all that nastiness.
Yeah.
In his final moment, I love too, where he's like passed out in the field, covered in mud and rain, and when he gets the letter.
Yeah, it's so comical how all that comes together. And I mean, you couldn't say it better of this whole like storybook feel to it.
It's almost got like that Big Fish vibe, that Tim Burton film.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're being told the story by, the guy's dad, and he's like, it's just completely unbelievable. There's a kind of a similar vibe happening here.
Yeah, this movie left me exhausted after watching it. I probably cried a few times here and there from both sadness and joy, and just the kindness of the human spirit and the feel goods. This movie was great.
Do you like it better than the 85 one?
I might have to rewatch it because I've seen way too many movies in between these two. Like way too many, more than I'd care to count. And I've learned a lot. So I'd probably need to rewatch it. I think they're both two different vibes that I can't pick one or the other. It might be on how I'm feeling that day.
Absolutely. That's kind of the challenge that we're faced, because we want to compare them endlessly because they're they're cut from similar cloths.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of thing where, did we need a musical version of The Color Purple? No. But now I need a musical version of every fucking movie ever made. Kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This has opened, I'm sure it's not the first to do this either. There's no way, right? But there's something really amazing captured in this kind of retelling. It doesn't need to be a musical per se, but just the reimagining of what something can look like is awesome. There's a game coming out, the part 2 of a game coming out called Final Fantasy VII, and it's being reimagined in a similar way. The original came out in like 1997, I think, and it was a PS1 game, so it was of its time, right? They're remaking it with modern graphics and modern sensibilities and mechanics and everything, and it's just a completely new experience, no matter how you look at it. It's even a new story for the most part. But both can exist, right? We still have the original no matter what. And so I'm always, when there's a proper like remake, like Beauty and the Beast, it's kind of a 1-to-1 remake of the animated. They're both kind of animated, aren't they? But the Emma Watson ones, basically a 1-to-1 remake of the 89 one or 91 when it came out, right?
Pretty much. Few pieces here or there. We give Belle a little bit more of what she already is, and we give the Beast more of what we didn't know about him. So we develop the characters just a little bit more.
And I think that helps justify the movie, right? Because otherwise, why does it exist? Like the Lion King one, maybe is the better example. I'm not sure why that one exists because it's animated, but we already have the animated one. We already have the one that has more personality for one, But that's the fun, I guess, in debating one over the other in different scenarios. But
well, I think the Lion King example, it's such a drastic style, animating style, that I kind of like it. Because you're going from 2D to like live action, quote.
Yeah.
So that on itself is enough justification for me to remake something. Kind of like the Pokemon one that we just made them kind of 3D-ish.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
That was weird. I kind of liked it.
I kind of liked it too. There's no doubt.
So I don't know.
There's no doubt there's something to that. But I'm very happy about what happened with The Color Purple. It's a really great film. And I hope it starts, I don't know if I want to say it, but I hope it starts a little bit of a trend. It probably will never be as good as this one, like the duo of films, but one can hope, I guess. It's a fun idea. We need more musicals. I feel like musicals happened all the time in the 50s and 60s. Are they expensive to do? I mean...
I bet you they are.
Yeah, probably.
Because now all of a sudden you have a group of people that has to learn a specific dance. So now you're introducing something that's not normal in production, a choreographer. Or I don't know how normal that is, but, more...
Definitely more involved.
More involved, for sure. And, oh my god, the scene when they're all dancing... That scene when Suge is coming to town and everybody's dancing, all the men are getting ready, all the girls are jelly. And that night scene when she's coming out of the car, we have, God, I don't know how many people on set dancing. And sure, they're not all doing the same number, the same dance, but majority of them are. Maybe like 20 people. And I don't know, something tells me that it can get crazy expensive.
Yeah, and it definitely requires a somewhat authoritarian, kind of direction and control over it. So Blitz here, and I know he has some experience, quite a bit of experience doing music videos with, I think he did a Beyonce, like feature music album kind of production.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's obviously very in control.
Yeah, well, they did a great job. This movie is great. Performances are great. Music, choreography was great.
Will you listen to this soundtrack in the car?
Probably not. It's a little too gospel-y for me. Maybe one or two songs here or there. Probably Sophia's song.
Hell no?
Yeah, Hell No.
Or Hell Nah?
Hell No. But it wasn't my type of...
Sure, yeah.
...soundtrack.
One final thing I wanted to talk about was the kind of one terrible thing, at least one terrible thing that happens to every character. They kind of have these just, life moments. Life sucks, And I really like that no one's immune to it. Harpo, Sophia, Suge, Mista, Celie, obviously, fucking Nettie having to deal with the British coming to invading Africa wherever they're at. That's pretty fucking wild.
That was crazy. I didn't even think about that. But that's insane. Yeah.
One of my favorite dance sequences, actually, which is one of the quicker ones, is... I can't remember at what moment in the movie it's happening, but it's when they're dressed in, like, African, outfits on the beach. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I think that was when Celie was reading one of the letters from Nettie that she managed to steal back from Mista.
Yeah, it's when she got all of them, right? And she was just kind of reading them sporadically. Yeah, okay.
That was good.
It just was very fantasy, it's super neat because it was on the coast, I imagine, of Georgia. It's like it's not even in Africa because, she doesn't know what Africa looks like. So I like that she is able to imagine some of this. I guess she's kind of there when she's reading it, right? I think she's part of the number. I can't remember,
I
but
think so. I think so.
I like that sequence. We even get a little moment with Suge and her dad.
That's right. Which I think we get that in the first one. But I mean, it's like every character decided to go after what they wanted or to have their redemption too, which is always nice. It's always a nice little bow when all our characters get a resolution.
And it's really powerful that Celie lands on like being the bigger person kind of note, like she doesn't hate Mista, or at least she doesn't let it kind of known, she's very tolerant and forgiving. And that's really cool, because she could be a bitter old motherfucker like him towards Mista, right? So like, or just let it seep into the rest of her world, but she doesn't.
Yeah,
that's awesome. It almost flips. Mister's almost afraid of Celie. What she...
Hell yeah, she cursed him.
Yeah, she did curse him. She's a witch.
She's a witch. I'd be scared too.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for that talk. That was a good talk. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for showing me The Color Purple for the second time.
You're welcome.
Do you have a budget guess for me here today?
My budget guess is pretty high, I think. But we'll see. It's 150 million. There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yes.
There's a lot of sets. There's a lot of big names. There's a lot of musicals. There's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of singing. There's a lot of costumes. There's a lot going on here. It's pretty long. And it looks expensive. And it's Steven Spielberg. Production. Oprah's involved.
Mm-hmm. They can bring in that money. Personally.
Yeah.
It says here, though, that it was about $100 million. So, very expensive.
Ooh, still expensive.
Yeah, and it unfortunately didn't make anything in the box office.
No.
Close to $60 million.
60?
Yeah, so that's tough. That's tough.
See, I don't understand. Because when this was announced that it was happening, I was so excited. But everybody was so mad that this was going to be a remake. And I don't understand how you can be so mad that a movie's going to be remade. Hopefully that's not why these numbers are so bad or so low. Hopefully it's not people saying, I'm not going to watch that. We didn't need that. Don't touch the classics.
But they go see Little Mermaid. Arguably the worst of the Disney remakes.
How are you going to go through life with that attitude of not seeing something new? First off, you knew it was a musical. All right, I get people don't like musicals. But you're not even slightly curious on one of the greatest films being made into a musical? You're not like, what? How is that going to play out? I need to see that. That alone should have driven people to the movie theater. Is it because it came out on Christmas and no one goes to the movies on Christmas?
I've always heard Christmas Day releases are big hits.
Oh, well, what happened? I don't know. I don't get it, man. Where's your sense of curiosity? At least. Steven Spielberg and Oprah? What?
That was a weird combo in 1985. It's still weird.
Yes.
It's arguably weirder now, I guess.
And they do it again? Yeah.
Speaking of Oprah, I was a little surprised to not see a little drop-in.
Me too.
We got a Whoopi cameo.
Me too. I was surprised too. But that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, she's really not an actor, so.
And she's not the star, She wasn't the star of the 85 film. Whoopi was.
Oh, that's fair. That's a good point.
For me, that's who I'm going to recognize.
Yeah, I guess I'm not even sure if I would recognize Oprah. I guess, to be fair. Whoopi's very striking in appearance. She's got a very iconic presence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to ease our hearts over on Letterboxd, we recognize the brilliance. It's a 3.6, but only 36,000 write-ins.
That's nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty low. This movie definitely has been underserved even for a flop, it's been underserved.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. How does this get more attention? I'm not sure. It's a little too late to make a splash, but maybe it becomes a cult classic.
Maybe. Yeah, I gave it a 3.5, and I was debating between a 3.5 and a 4, so I'm still kind of there.
Very nice.
Go watch it. Just go watch it. Get over yourself. Go watch it. Go cry a little. Stop being weird. Go watch it. It's fun. That's all I have to say about that.
I think I'm leaning on a 2.5.
2.5? Yeah. Musicals aren't your strong suit.
But thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Filmistines. Hope you guys enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Remember, we post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with brand new episodes of the Filmistines over on patreon.com/Filmistines, Spotify, Pandora, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the goods. All the goods.
All the goods.
Remember to leave nice reviews, comments, thoughts, and ideas over on our Patreon. ASAP. Please do it.
Now.
But until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines, and follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmistines, signing off.